Hi everyone. First, let me just say how happy I am to have found this movement. It's been a very interesting time, to say the least, and I'm just so glad to have found this group of people. And I'm certain that this movement has helped to push me that last little piece. Not that I needed pushing, but I needed courage. It gave me the courage to kind of move into this last stage of my, what I'll call, awakening. So anyway, I just want to tell you a little bit about who I am. My name is Amy. I am not a Russian bot. I am not a Botsky. Not me. I live in Arizona. I have been a public school teacher or a behavior specialist for the last 25 years. And I lived most of my life in Maryland. And I have one son who's 19, and he makes me so happy. But politically speaking, I've kind of gone through a couple different metamorphoses, if you will, but to keep it fairly short, because I think the latter part of what I want to talk about is a bit more important, but just a very, very quick background. I think initially was a registered Democrat, just because that's kind of what everybody that I was around in Maryland was. But in fairly short order, I switched over to non-affiliated. It used to be independent, now it's not affiliated, I believe. At least in Maryland, that's what it was. So, and I switched over to being an independent just because, I don't know, it seemed more representative of who I was and certainly am. I still am a registered independent, non-affiliated voter. I like the idea of thinking independently, and I think that at this point, I really truly believe that everybody needs to educate themselves and come up with their own opinions based on education, knowledge, actual research. I listened while I was going to college in the 90s, the early 90s. I really became involved politically in the sense that I immersed myself in a lot of political talk shows. I watched the news all the time, and I actually kind of listened to both sides. And I think I just kind of got so frustrated that I kind of gave up. When I was listening, I did vote Democrat, mostly Democrat. Since then, I've certainly voted independent. I always felt weird about voting Republican because it was just always my understanding from my upbringing and where I came from that, you know, Republicans were the party of the rich, Democrats were the party of the poor, less fortunate, different diversity groups, you know, that whole narrative. And there were reasons for me believing that, certainly. That's what they would always say, and I didn't really do a lot of research into it. I was, like I said, big into watching the news back then, which meant that a good portion of what I learned was from sound bites and from created narratives from a particular perspective or platform that was to be promoted at that time, any given time. So I voted a few times, and then I just really got tired of it. I just got sick of all the craziness, all the games. I know I didn't trust the Bushes when they were around. I just didn't trust that. I came to not trust the Clintons. I didn't know what the heck to think about Obama. It seemed great in the beginning, and then I started to have a lot of questions that, of course, I would never ask or discuss within my friend group. And it wasn't even that I was necessarily against him. I just had questions, and I knew I couldn't bring those up. And when I kind of gently approached certain things, I was quickly cut off. But it wasn't really in a mean way, so I wasn't completely turned off the way I am now. But the truth is, well, the last 3 years has been a real real roller coaster for me. I made a move from Maryland to Utah, and spent lots of wonderful time with someone I would consider a best friend for sure, hands down. And we believed differently, and I know it's just really hard for me to kind of wrap myself, down around the messages, because Trump is not exactly, hasn't been always the most gentle deliverer of information. And truthfully, I was thinking from a triggered space, and I definitely didn't give the time needed to really listen to what he was having to say, to do my own research. I just always would lean back on my friends and in my little comfort zone, to make my decisions. Either I wouldn't make one, or I would just choose not to make a decision at all, which is a choice, or I would make a decision based more on emotion and what other people would tell me. But then when I started to come up with some of my own conclusions and ask some questions, I allowed myself to be controlled by fear of what people I cared about would think, fear about being wrong, because having, at least in my friend group, and certainly on Facebook, in that friend group for sure, it's been really demonized to have a different opinion, even to ask a question. When I voted for an independent back in 2016, I was berated for wasting my vote, and I might as well have voted for Trump and all this stuff. And that is not what America is all about. At least it shouldn't be. I mean, evidently it is right now. Not all about, but a portion of it is about that. And that's wrong. It feels wrong to me. I love this country. And the reasons I love this country, one of the biggest ones is supposed to be freedom of thought and freedom of speech. And, but at the same time, I'm grateful for Facebook. I'm grateful because I don't think, well, I don't know, but I know for sure that the interactions I've had on Facebook, the posts I've seen that people have made, threatening people that they won't be their friends anymore, they'll delete them, canceled, cancel culture kind of thing. If you don't believe exactly what they believe, then something must be wrong with you, or you're a racist or a bigot or a sexist or any kind of name, because it's become the culture on the left side anyway, the culture of name calling, the culture of blame, the culture of shame, the culture of name calling. And I'm here to tell you, I'm done. I mean, I wasn't extreme on the left, but I definitely lean more towards that way, and I'm grateful for what I've seen on Facebook, because it propelled me to really, and this whole shutdown situation. Unfortunately, I haven't had work in a while. I'm going to actually try to start a YouTube channel here, and on a myriad of different topics, which I will not bring up right now because I want to preserve the importance of this topic. I'm just done with it all. I'm done with all of that. The research that I've been able to do with this time off, on both sides, what people would consider both sides of the aisle, watching the hypocrisy in the news, watching the meanness in my friends, and the judgment from people that supposedly speak for equality and unity. I'm not saying that they don't believe that they are. I mean, I love my friends. I believe that they think that what they're doing is the right thing. I just happen to disagree. And with that said, they have the right to believe whatever they believe. I'm not going to shame them. I'm not going to try to force my opinion down their mouth, down their throats. But I can't participate in any of that anymore. It's become really clear what the game is. And in a moment, I'm going to tell you what I'm walking away from. Okay? So I do want to take a moment just to say, I have to credit my awakening to a couple different things. Certainly one being the discourse, or lack thereof, that I saw on Facebook. Like I said, the media, certainly the time. If I was working, I would have never had the time to do all the research that I have done. Never. No, I wouldn't have ever. I have spent hours researching things that I believe to be true, researching narratives that have been clearly flipped, researching accusations on our president now, and on a myriad of other people that have chosen not to toe the extreme leftist line. And frankly, I was absolutely livid, disgusted, livid. I actually felt like I had to throw up at a couple points. I felt guilty about that, about supporting that side for the time that I have had. I felt complicit in my lack of choosing to educate myself and living on the sound bites and making my decisions from there. And then also complicit in just turning my back out of pure disgust for politics in general. When I did turn my back, I delved deeply into spirituality, which I still am deeply into. Some of my videos will be about that. And it was hard to rectify the two things that I was hearing, seeing, and the things that I was studying and researching and feeling as a spiritual being. But I know I've come to that point now that I can completely walk away. I've been able to mesh my new knowledge with some of my old beliefs, knowing that I wasn't totally off, but just knowing that I needed to take a different path. So here's that path, okay? Here's that path for me. Excuse my glasses, I have to be able to see. So moving forward, my personal call to action for myself, is to first continue to gain knowledge, continue my inner reflection, to really keep defining every day what I stand for. If you don't stand for something, you stand for nothing, and you'll fall for anything. And then to act in accordance with what I know is the right thing to do and what my intuition tells me, based on being an educated American. So I'm walking away from fabricated rage and fear, and I'm walking towards love and knowledge. I'm walking away from being ignorant by choice, afraid of what I'll find. I'm walking towards knowledge. I'm walking away from making decisions based on emotion, and walking towards making decisions based on fact. I'm walking away from being triggered, and I'm walking towards remaining balanced and centered. I am walking away from viciousness, name-calling, attacks, belittling, shame, blame, all that. But I'm walking towards kindness. I'm walking away from separation, the tools that they're using to divide us. And I'm walking towards the oneness of being a unified American nation. I am walking away from the hypocrisy of the media and the movements and the guilt and the shame and the hypocrisy runs deep. I could do 5 videos on that, so I'm not even going to get into that, but I am walking towards truth and fairness and equality. I am walking away from pandering actions and words. You know, we've seen a lot of that recently. This pandering stuff is ridiculous, but it happens and it has been happening all through history. Instead, I'm walking towards real solutions. Real solutions. The true intention to actually do something. Besides post a black square or whatever. I am walking away from guilt and walking towards courage. I am walking away, I am running away from identity politics, and I am walking towards success for each individual, which leads towards the success of us all. We shouldn't, and we really can't, for the good of our country. We can't allow ourselves to be divided anymore. And the division, the injustice, the hypocrisy, the hate, the meanness, I'm walking away from all of it. So, I already cut to the chase with my Facebook friends. I saved all my pictures and videos yesterday and just deleted my account in full. I don't need it, plus it's a waste of time, and I prefer to do research and make some YouTube videos. So anyway, I want to say thank you to my fellow Americans. There's so many of you that have helped me come to this point. I have watched a lot and listened to a lot and read a lot from people in all walks of life in terms of their perspective, and I just can't thank you enough for sharing your words. So in that spirit, I am sharing my words and hope that, you know, perhaps this will help somebody along the way. This movement has been tremendous. You helped me gain the courage to make this video, and certainly to keep going. And I just really appreciate, respect, and love you all. So thank you very much. Hopefully these words have been helpful. Try to look for me in the future. I'm going to be making at least a video every day, I believe, from this point on, about a myriad of different topics that I think would interest you. I'm thinking of renaming my channel while you weren't looking, but at this moment it's become the cause. And so thank you very much. Please like and subscribe if you want to see things from me in the future. I don't have much up there right now, only I think one other video, but it's coming. Thank you very, very much. Very much. #WalkAway. God bless you all, and God bless the United States of America.